everyone, this is Rachel Alexander with Keller Realty, serving the Tallahassee, Crawfordville, and Gadsden County areas. And what I wanted to discuss today was actually something that got posed to me as a question a while back. I was talking to a person that I used to go to church with, and what she was saying is that, you know, there's a lot of information out there if you do a Google search for first-time home buyers, but there's not a lot of information for first-time home sellers, okay? And I thought about that, and so I decided to make this video to address some of those concerns. So with first-time home sellers, one of the things that you want to understand is that you're oftentimes setting yourself up to be able to move into the next home. I mean, that was your whole goal of purchasing the home in the first place. You were paying your rent anyway, you weren't getting any return on that money, and so you decided to purchase a home so that in a couple of years you could sell it, the market would appreciate, and you'd be able to get some equity out of it to be able to move into your next home. Isn't that right? Okay, so with selling your home for the first time, when we sit down, what we'll discuss is your mortgage payoff. So the vast majority of the time, especially first-time home buyers, you're going to use a mortgage, you're going to use a bank to finance the purchase of your home. Now, you don't need to pay the mortgage company all the way back. So say that you bought your first house for $180,000, you don't need to pay all the $180,000 back, okay? Now, what you will need to do is you will need to call your lender, call the person who's servicing your loan and ask, hey, what's the balance remaining, okay? So that when we sit down, you have that balance, we're able to talk things out and know how much you can expect to receive from the sale of the home. Now, if you're a first-time home buyer, especially with me, what I'm going to tell you is that a home is typically a 3 to 5 year commitment. This isn't something that we buy today and then sell tomorrow, because you want to allow time for the market to appreciate to where you can pull some of the equity, so some of the value out of your home, and then go and purchase another home. So say, for example, that you purchased the home a couple years for $180,000. Let's say that market values have risen in your area, and now that same home is worth $220,000. You waited about 3 years, 3 or 4 years or so, and now the home value is $220,000, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to put together a list of homes that would be your competition, a list of homes in your area that have sold, to see how your home stacks up against that, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to determine a value that we could place on your home, or a value that we believe that the market would support. Now, what is market value, you may ask? Market value is the price that a seller is willing to sell the property for and that a buyer is willing to pay. So those two things coming together is what makes up market value. So that's why we look back at comparable sales. We look back and say, hey, what have sellers been willing to sell for? What have buyers been willing to purchase for? Now, often I'll also recommend, you know, some repairs to be done to the home. There's typically something that needs to be done to the home, unless you bought the house new construction and I've taken immaculate care of it. There typically is something that you need to do to the home. So I typically will put together a personalized list for you of items that need to be taken care of before we hit the market, okay? Now, this is sometimes where I get some pushback. Hey, you know, well, we've been living in it. It's been fine. You know, we haven't had any problems with this. And what I say to that is, the house that you live in is not the house that you sell, okay? So you may keep great care of your home. You know, you may, I guess maybe 80% of the time may live extremely clean. You may keep, you know, handprints off the walls. You may keep your stainless steel fridge wiped down. But when you go to sell your house, there's going to be still something. It's going to be another level of care that you're going to have to bring to the property to make sure that the buyer sees the value that you've put into the home and that you've taken care of the home, okay? So we'll put together that list together. We'll discuss what's affordable and what's feasible for you to do. And we'll discuss, you know, hey, well, we may need to compensate for this with price, okay? After we do that, we'll typically go together over the listing agreement. We'll go over the fees to sell the home, and we'll put it on the market, okay? So that's typically, you know, that's a very streamlined view of kind of the first time home selling process, at least initially before putting it on the market. And I do hope that it helps. Now, one thing that we will do is when we are looking at the numbers, we'll see, hey, this is how much you should make from the home. And then based on that projection, will estimate what you should be able to afford for your next home. So maybe, again, you purchased your original home for 180, and maybe now you're looking to purchase another home that's 250, 260, okay? So we'll make sure that we have sourced the down payment. We'll make sure that we have enough funds for closing costs, or if we plan to negotiate that on the next home. And what we'll do is we'll make sure that we have a winning strategy to be able to get you into your next home, okay? So I hope that helps. If you have any more detailed questions about selling your home for the first time, please give me a call, shoot me a text. Like I said, a lot of times you are juggling things. So you're juggling the house that you're selling with the house that you're wanting to purchase. And so it's very important that we make sure that both of those things line up, that both of those transactions line up, okay? Now, the next thing that I wanted to be able to discuss with you is a portion that I like to call Real Talk About Life. And so I recently had someone in my social circle reach out to me, and she was asking, you know, hey, I've recently received a pay cut at my job. And with me receiving this pay cut at my job, I love the culture. I love the people where I am. I'm very happy here. I'm just not happy with the pay, okay? And she mentioned that she had another offer to go to another place in that same field, or another firm in that same field. And, you know, what she was saying is, you know, I don't know if I'm going to like these people. I'm typically pretty withdrawn. I don't really get engaged in culture, but I really got engaged in the culture where I am now, okay? And, you know, after asking her a couple of questions and then also knowing her personality, she's a really sweet person. However, I do know she doesn't like a lot of people. Sometimes when you are a person who keeps to yourself, finding people that you vibe with, finding people that you would consider your tribe in a work environment that you feel comfortable in can be difficult. And so what I challenged her to do is, you know, take a look, take a list of pros and cons, you know, but she asked me personally what I would do. I said, I would honestly stay where you feel like, you know, you're being supported, where you feel like you're enjoying the environment. And she said, well, you know, even with the pay cut, I said, I honestly would. And here's why. I think that pay is something that can be negotiated. Maybe not always the time that you want it to be negotiated. Maybe you need to have a side hustle, or you need to have another form of income temporarily to kind of close that gap. But I don't think that culture is something that can be replaced. I think when you feel more comfortable and you feel supported, then you perform that way because you are comfortable and you are supported. And that's something that, you know, I think as I look over, you know, my own personal life, and then also when I'm dealing with clients and kind of hearing their stories, maybe they had this job here and now they're at this job there. I'm not saying that everything is going to line up, but for me, I find that culture is very important. So, you know, I guess I'll pose a question, you know, are you happy with your work environment? Do you think that it's something that you feel like is sustainable for you? Or is it maybe time to look for a move? Okay, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please give me a call, shoot me a text if you have any real estate needs, any real estate concerns. Would love to be able to be of assistance to you. Have a great one. Bye-bye.